Hey, Dr. Erin here in Focus TV Network in West Hollywood, and you don't want to miss this show. We're talking about loneliness, overcoming things. If you want community and to begin a network, you want to stay tuned for these amazing two women that are here, Brooke and Heidi. I can't talk today. What's up? How are you guys?
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Oh, it's so wonderful. You guys are up from Orange County, Huntington Beach, and Newport Beach, right? So kind of that whole area.
Yeah, we had a long overdue meeting that she and I needed to do, so we took our meeting to the car and came up to visit you for the
Perfect.
day. Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted to bring you guys on, because you both have businesses that are all about building community, and in today's world we have 72% of Americans consider themselves lonely at least one time in the week. So it's such important work that you guys are up to. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Well, you know, we all spend time on our phones, so it makes sense that we would be feeling lonely from actual interpersonal communications. Well, I'll go first. And so my husband and I own a company called Beach City Sports. We operate adult sports leagues for anyone 20 years and older in Orange and LA County. So I do love sports, but the part that I'm passionate about is the teamwork, bringing people together. You join a team, you make friends, a lot of them for life. Heidi plays in one of our volleyball leagues, so I'm looking at her because she knows. But the community that comes with that, and part of our company is called Beach City Sports, so part of being a part of the BCS family and just having friends that will go do other activities with you and be active and be social.
So fun. And so Xanadu. Heidi of Xanadu, and I just sort of say as a little girl, like I was all about the movie Xanadu, and I know all the younger generations are like, what is she talking about? But from my generation, it was like Grease and Xanadu. I mean, it was over. We had our roller skates on. We were like, you know, so I'm thinking anything with that name, I love.
Roller skates, rainbows, sparkles, good vibes.
Right.
I mean, we actually created the name and then we found out about the movie and watched it and we're like, oh, this is perfect. It's right in line with their like ethos. We're just gonna have to do like a whole dance with Olivia Newton-John and have her come out to one of our events.
Right.
So Olivia Newton-John, if you're out there, please come. We'll be happy to have you. Just a little plug.
So Xanadu, I love what you guys do. You guys basically bring together adults, like it's an adult camp. I'm thinking, sign me up on that one, right? And you've gone to places like Catalina, you've gone into the desert, you do whatever. And how many days usually, like 3 days or how many days?
Yeah, we have a variety of events and it ranges from 1 day for a few hours to 3 days on island to 5 days in the Grand Canyon backpacking through majestic waterfalls. And so Xanadu means a place of magnificent beauty. And so when we looked that up, we're like so in love with that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean a place of physical beauty, which there is amazing places of physical beauty, and that's what we capture in our experiences. But it's also about a place of mental beauty and emotional beauty. And when you're really in that sweet spot in the zone, life is beautiful. Even the mundane things like this bladed grass or the flowers, you know.
And you know, I come from the consciousness world, the spiritual world, and I think that one of the kind of intentions that I have with the show is to have spirituality become a normal mainstream thing. And I really truly believe that even like flag football, it's totally spiritual. When you're there, you're connecting with other human beings, you're having, you know, moments of just being totally present in that. It's a very mindful and spiritual experience, I'm sure, right? Even with some beer, you know?
Yeah, totally.
You know, ripping off the flags.
Yes, and alcohol can add or subtract to the intentionality of being present, but I know what you mean.
Right?
Well, whether you're playing sports out on the beach or 2 weeks ago, I was with Heidi, you guys threw a cruise in Long Beach. It really is just learning to be present and actually make a connection, eye contact, not be on our phones with other people. You'll walk away with the couple of connections that really make a difference, I think, in my experience.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've played volleyball leagues with BCS, and it's so much fun. It's one of my favorite things ever because we're literally on the beach. So they have these sunset sessions, and sunset's my favorite time. And in a day of multitasking where you're feeling like you have to do a million things at one time, the presence of being on the field, focusing on a volleyball, and you're outside is just, it's so simple, but it's so good. And it makes me so happy that Brooke has created this community where I find so much value in being there outside and connecting with people and just playing. Like
Right.
adults need to learn how to play
We
again.
need to learn play again,
Yeah.
for
Yes.
sure. So when we come back, because we have to take a little break, I want to find out a few things. One, I want to know maybe some like 3 tips you guys have for people out there that are experiencing loneliness.
Yeah.
Maybe they, church is kind of going away for the younger culture. We don't necessarily work in offices all the time. We have laptop lifestyles. And so I want to know from both you guys your 3 tips for people out there of how to get involved, networking, whatever that is that you guys recommend. And then also I want to get in a little bit into being entrepreneurs as women and kind of hearing about your trials and tribulations, okay?
Awesome.
So stay tuned, you guys, as you can find 3 tips today you can take away and make it happen for your life with your community and living a life that you love. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back with Brooke and Heidi, who both have incredible companies about bringing people together through sports, through events, and knowing that many people are dealing with loneliness out in the world. So we want to have a conscious conversation about how to create your community, how to get out there, how to network. So I want to know 3 tips.
I wanted to say that's just in the sweet spot of like why we do what we do is getting people outside, connecting people with not only themselves but with each other and also with nature. There's something to be said about being outside of the all 4 corners of our box, and we wake up and we go to a box and we drive in a box and go to another box and work out in a box and go home in a box. And
What do you mean?
It just kind of is this cycle. And then we were sad and we realized, wow, we're really lonely, but it's because we live our lives compartmentalized in boxes, and so we are passionate about breaking people outside the box. And that's like the first way to combat loneliness. Like, get outside of the darn box, go outside, because people want to connect so desperately. Humans are social creatures. And so when you're open and vulnerable, that connection can go so deep. And so I just wanted to say real quick about Camp Xanadu is our adventure camp for adults. And that is the biggest question that we ask ourselves is how can we get people to connect fast and deeply and authentically with each other. And so we created this curated algorithm throughout the weekend where people come out of it with like these incredible relationships and breakthroughs and connections. People are laughing and crying and experiencing the whole spectrum of human emotion. And that's so good, and it's so
good.
real.
Yummy, it's so yummy.
It's so yummy. And so, yeah, I think Brooke has some really great
three tips, Brooke. She's really
and I'll take this another direction. I know not everyone lives in LA or Orange County. Speaking as myself, when I first moved to this state, I had very few friends, literally could count them on one hand. And I just remember one day looking around and thinking, why am I hanging out with the people I'm hanging out with? And how do I improve the quality of the people I'm really spending my time with, and getting outside your comfort zone. I mean, we have access to the internet, which gives you access to unlimited events. Whether you're on Craigslist, I actually first discovered a meetup beach flag football or beach 2-hand-touch football group on Craigslist. That's
Google will be your first best friend. So
exactly.
Google, Craigslist, Meetup.com, Facebook events. There's lots of ways. There's a million networking events out there. Find something that you have a common interest with. But take that off of your computer and the internet and actually get outside your comfort zone and go to those events.
Yeah, it's not a real event if you're just online checking out the event. It's like you actually have to go to the event.
Right, yes. Introduce yourself, get outside your bubble. Don't be afraid of making yourself uncomfortable. That's when the good connections come from. For me personally, I had to make a distinction between, instead of going to a networking event, seeing how many business cards I can get, going there for the masses, I realized one time that no, I really get one valuable contact at each of these things I go to. Some of them I don't get any. It's definitely okay to be selective with who you surround yourself and who you invest your time in. But just to go and, like Heidi said, be open, be vulnerable.
Completely.
Yeah, and just put yourself out there. That's when you're going to find that connection that makes a difference.
Which brings me to your companies. Both of you are entrepreneur women, and I agree. It's like, you may be a big name or not, but the point is that I think that in social media we've gotten so caught up in having huge followings, huge numbers, and you guys have both built off of having true community. And it doesn't have to be 1 million people. It can be a good community with a good income and having a great life. And I think that that's hopefully where we're going to start moving to in business. Yeah. It's not necessarily about bringing the millions in. It's about having a quality of life that's really the richest life that we can have.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to hear about your trials and tribulations with that. But to recap on the 3 tips. So first of all, get out of your comfort zone. I think it's really important, so important, because we're habitual beings, but that's a good thing and a bad thing, getting out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Doing the research, just going. And then I think, like you said, Brooke, basically not having it be all about thinking you're going to find the most business cards, the most people, but honing in on a few good people in your life to have good relationships. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any other tips before we go on with that?
I would energy attracts like energy. So really the more you're investing on who you are as a person, that's the kind of people that you're going to attract. So that's obviously key and foundation to even before going out there.
And I love that it's physical also, because obviously spiritually we need to be connected, but you guys are also filling the gap of people have that to-do list of I need some physical activity this weekend also. So you're kind of like, it's like check, and so brilliant concepts. And we'll get into where they can find you and everything. But when we come back, I want to hear about how the journey's been for you as women. It's not easy being an entrepreneur, and I want to hear about kind of your trials and tribulations around that, and find out more about how, the tips for people that are out there that are just, they're creating their community, they're creating their brands, but they just want to give up. And I know that there's many out there. So stay tuned as we get some more kind of hacks on women and entrepreneurship and what you can do to break through those walls. Stay tuned, you guys. Okay, we're back. We're talking about women, entrepreneurship, and trials and tribulations. So I want to know from both of you, what was your darkest hour? Like in building this company, I'm sure there was probably a point where you went like, I don't know if I can do this. How am I going to break the wall? So what was that for you, Heidi?
I think that's life. Like there's always going to be challenges and lots of challenges, and it's how you see those challenges. If you see them as opportunities, then I think that's like the biggest breakthrough, and I think that's like the biggest advice. And what I've personally learned is seeing the challenges as opportunities. Over the past 4 years that we've been in business, there's been multiple challenges with venues, with just so many different things. And sometimes, like one of our darkest moments where we had an event and we had 500 people on a boat and we were going to Catalina Island to do a 5K, and our venue cancels the event. And it was the most devastating thing I've ever experienced. Like, we literally didn't sleep for a month and eat for a month and had to figure this out. And so that survival mode kicks in, and that persistence of, where are we going to put 500 people? They've all paid. Our event's going to go on. And so we decided just to go anyways. And just trusting the universe that something was going to open for us, and that we have good intentions. And
wait, you had a boat, like the people are on the boat and you don't know where you're going to stay?
The people, so the day, so it was a 1-day event, and that event was happening in a few weeks. And people had purchased tickets to fly in to go on this boat to go to Catalina, and the event was official on the back and canceled. Like, we didn't say anything on outside, so this is still kind of a secret. It might be the first time people hear about this. So literally, the day before our event, we were going to set up, and it was still considered technically canceled. And then I get a phone call from one of the managers there, and they're like, everything's set up. It's been approved, reapproved. You guys are good to go. And I just started crying, and then literally the phone dropped because we were in the middle of the ocean and there's no reception. I was like, thank God, this is amazing. But those weeks leading up to that moment where it was just so much relief, it was a lot of crap that happened. We emailed people, we just knew that there was only one direction that we wanted to go, and it wasn't no, and no was not the answer that we would take.
The universe is definitely testing you.
Yes,
for sure.
So we definitely did a lot of legwork, and it ended up happening, and it was just such a wonderful event. But it was one of the biggest tribulations that we've ever experienced. But it's to not give up. If you have a dream, and if you have a passion, if you believe in yourself, just do it and keep on doing it, and don't stop.
What a great story of victory. How about you, Brooke? What was your kind of darkest hour?
We've had a lot of them. In 6 years, we've had a lot of them. I think it's probably going into business and expecting a lot of people to support us. And really, when it comes down to it, you have to believe in yourself above anyone, because they're not the ones that are putting in that hustle and that 20-hour days. Probably some of my darkest hours have been weather related, because most of our leagues are run outdoors. But I'm a huge advocate of living your dream and going to be an entrepreneur. And people need to understand that it's really difficult. They need to understand what you're getting into. You need to have a lot of conversations going into it, and just be ready to put in that hustle and to put in the legwork.
Nice.
And again, to me, it just comes down to surrounding yourself, who you surround yourself with.
Completely, right?
So
let's play a fast little there's a lot of games in here. I heard people doing games and stuff, so I've been inspired to do a little conscious game real quick before we before we get into having everyone know where they can find you and finding community and getting involved, whether it be in sports or whether it be in some retreats or whatever it is. But so I want to just ask you guys back and forth. Okay, so both you guys. So Brooke, what are you most grateful today for?
My husband, my home.
How about you, Heidi?
Just living the life of my dreams. It really is.
I love
exactly
that.
What I want.
I love that. And so what's something random that no one knows about either of you guys? Something that your audience out there, I know you have a lot of, there's a lot of friends, there's the sports, whatever. What is it?
I come from a family like the Brady Bunch, 3 boys, 3 girls.
Oh, okay, God. Get it.
I'm really weird sometimes. I like collecting Ryan's belly button lint. Yeah.
That is love. And you just got back from Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Raising $1 million at the event, right?
Yeah, so we just got back from this Vegas benefit concert, and there's all these celebrities coming in to do performances and raise money for all the Vegas victims.
Wow.
And you raise over $1 million.
And in between, you're getting his belly button. I love that.
That's only in the winter,
love,
though.
Right?
The
those
summer,
are the things, though, that we all want to hear about, right?
Yeah.
Like, those are the things that make us love everyone. And then, okay, so what do you feel like the meaning of life is, Brooke?
I guess this goes back to where you categorize your success as, but to me it's being happy, contributing a little bit more to other people, and that happens to come back, but that's not the point.
Yep.
Meaning of life. We're getting deep here, Erin.
Right? Why not?
I think sometimes that's the hardest thing for people to understand or find. But one thing that we try is, okay, if you're on your deathbed and today's like the last day on this earth, would you feel happy and satisfied with your work here on this planet?
So
and if the
true.
answer is yes, then that you fulfilled the meaning of life. And if it's no, then start right away. Start today, because today is what you have right now.
Yeah, that's words of wisdom for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then one last thing, who has inspired you the most in your life?
Oh man, right now it's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Honestly, right?
Inspired you the most?
I feel inspiration from like everybody. I don't really idolize like one person, but I find bits of wisdom from just humans. I think humans are so incredible and so diverse, and I just can't get enough of just learning about people.
Yeah,
So
so great. So
You know, I
wonderful.
will say that I read your book this summer, and I
Oh.
really loved it. And it, I mean, I still
Good plug, good plug. Yeah.
I did not ask you to do that. I was telling Heidi
I was
this.
telling
just
them.
save it in the car too. I want to read
No,
it.
but
as
it
well.
really brought, it really opened my eyes to looking inward and kind of just a new level of self-awareness that I had never had before. I know that I'm young, I'm 30, so I'm on the beginning, you know, of a long career ahead of me. And to get that self-awareness and that awakening inside, I think was really neat. And the more you do that, kind of the less you look to outside
So true.
people.
True
for
confidence,
influences.
right?
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks for
Yeah.
saying that. Okay, so where do people find you?
Yeah.
So Beach City Sports.
BeachCitySports.com. We're on any social media: Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
And they can sign up for flag football, volleyball.
Yeah, so we're the largest co-ed flag football league in the world
Mm-hmm.
on the beach. So that's our biggest sport. But we also have kickball, basketball, volleyball, and other things
Mm-hmm.
interspersed throughout the year, including social events.
And what if someone isn't in Southern Cal? Can they start their own Beach City Sports? How can they get involved?
I'm so glad you asked that.
Yeah.
So within the last couple of years, we've gotten more involved on a national level, and we've branded that as socialsportsnetwork.com. So any state you live in, you can put your zip code and find a league like Beach City Sports near you.
Awesome.
And check in with them, contribute. I mean, whether we're talking about a sports league, a social event organization, a church, a nonprofit, it doesn't matter. Like, find a way to get involved, find people who drive with you, and then contribute. And
Great advice.
that's
great
where you
advice.
get the value.
Okay, Heidi, so Xanadu Life, is that what it's? Is
Yeah,
that the,
so we have thexanadulife.com, and then we also have campxanadu.org, which is our adult adventure camp.
yeah, because one's nonprofit
Yeah.
and one is for profit, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And they can go, what are the events? Like, what's your next event?
Yeah. So our biggest annual event is Camp Xanadu. So it's our annual adult adventure camp on Catalina Island. That's our 3-day retreat.
Fantastic.
Just
And that's in October?
incredible. That's the end of September.
Okay, great. Okay, great. And then where can they find you guys personally on social media and stuff?
Oh, mine is Heidi H. Hong on Facebook, and then Adventures of the Traveling Yogi on Instagram.
Okay, wow, there we go. These youngins, I'll tell you.
I actually don't have a public Instagram, but on Facebook I'm Brooke J Page, and at Beach City Sports is a phenomenal way to follow publicly and to get in touch with me.
Okay, great, great. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming up from
you
Orange
for
County.
having
It's
me.
such a
Yeah.
pleasure. Your work is really divinely guided. I know that people need community. So if you're out there, if you're lonely, this is a divine sign for you to reach out, find community, go on Google, find meetups, whatever that is. You can do it. We've got to get out of our comfort zone. It's not healthy to isolate. We're not designed that way. So you guys have a wonderful day, and may you live your truth.